All right, guys, very big welcome. Thank you very much for coming to our week 7 webinar. Today, I'm going to be talking briefly about a couple of chapters. I'm going to be talking about chapter 7, which is about determining the business information system strategy, and chapter 8, which is about managing the portfolio of business applications. I'm not going to go into so much details into all of these things. I just want to also go really at the end towards the assignment and make sure we discuss a bit about the assignment, because I want to make sure you guys are going to have the best chance of getting the best outcome on the assignment. This is especially important considering that up and observing a number of assignments that were submitted, there were very high similarities into many of them. There were people left a lot of the work till late to be able to go and start, and that was a very big issue in terms of doing the right outcome and getting the right marks. So it's very important that we don't delay starting our group assignment, and you need to start working with your group like now, like this week. You can't actually delay it. We have a few weeks, but there's a lot of work involved, and you need to kind of have a strategy about how you are going to be dividing your work for your assignment to be able to really go and reach the right outcome. So, hold on for that. I'm going to be discussing that a bit further today because it's really important considering what I actually have received for the first assignment. Now, this is the details. I'll just remind you of them in case you would like to make any contact with us. We are available to help you. We want to help you, but also we want to make sure that you guys are getting the things done right. So we can't just simply go and give marks. We have to make sure that when we go and give you a specific marks, we need to go and make sure that you have actually earned those marks. We can't actually devalue the degree that you guys are going to be gaining. We have to make sure that you have actually earned that degree in an appropriate manner. So I will talk more about that further. I just want to remind you that the copyright is very important. You can't go and copy any information without really acknowledging where that information is coming from. And that was really a huge issue with the assignment. Like when I go and actually find an assignment that are 95 and 96% similarity, even if I find an assignment that is 50% similarity, when I go and find that people have actually copied entire paragraphs from the internet and put it in an assignment and thought that was a good enough work, a lot of these cases were, according to the policy of SISCC, they were actually referred to the academic director. Because as a coordinator, I don't have the actual permission to be able to deal with those cases, because they are basically urgent cases, and there are cases where there has been, in many cases, intentional plagiarism. And intentional plagiarism is not something that is taken lightly. There's a clear policy, and the policy said that I am not allowed to go and deal with many of those cases. So the academic director has taken those cases to be able to go and assess what outcome people were going to get as a result of that. Are they going to get a 0? Are they going to get a second chance? Are they going to get a 50% penalty? I don't know what that outcome is going to be, but there's certainly a number of assignments that are under investigation at the moment. The first stage of investigation has been conducted. The files and where the copying has come from has been investigated. And it's something really to really bear in mind as students, because in every subject we're going to have, you're not going to be permitted to go and engage into any copying whatsoever, because if you do, that's going to be a very big problem from a mark perspective, and potentially could lead to people getting 0 mark for the assignment, and as a result not being able to really pass the subject. So please, it's something very important, and it's something that I really urge you all to make sure you start looking at, and that's why you need to start working on your group assignment like very quickly, like now. You can't delay it. Last time we met, we spoke about achieving and sustaining advantage across the value disciplines. And when we said about the value discipline, we said your organization not simply going to go and work on one area. They're going to work on strategic projects. They're going to go work on operational projects. They're going to go and work on high potential projects. So don't go and put all your eggs into one basket and only work on one set of projects only. In the contrast, you actually have to go and work on various projects that are available that will add value, not simply one specific area, because if you're only good at one thing, you won't be able to go and achieve the success that is required in the long term. We spoke about how companies are trying to go and increase value in terms of the products that they've been delivering through a lot of time providing, informating products and services. In other words, allowing those services to provide more information or those products to provide more information. And I gave you examples such as you have an engine and that engine, yes, it's a physical machine, but you have all of these information being analyzed in the background about it and being sent back to head office to try to understand things such as how do we make the fuel, for example, more economical. So this is all about, trying to make information being delivered throughout all of these various products and services you have. We spoke about the importance of, analyzing the forces that are around you, what is happening, what is the competition, what are the threats that are available, and so on, to be able to really go and decide what sort of information system and IT opportunities as well as threats are available out there. We spoke about a value chain. In other words, you as an organization, you are basically present to be able to deliver a certain value to the client. If you're not delivering that value, you're basically missing a very, very key outcome. So we're speaking about delivering that specific value chain. We spoke about the customer lifecycle management and the value chain, because when you go and get a customer, the customer will have a life cycle. Like they're going to stay in your business for a certain period of time, and potentially they're going to go and leave. For example, you're going to go and build a house. They're not going to be with you forever. You're going to go, they're going to sit down, do the planning with you, investigation, implementation. They're going to review what you're doing. And then eventually they're not going to be your customer after. So you need to think about that life cycle, how I need to go and manage your customer throughout the cycle of their engagement with me as an organization. We spoke that delivering value is not simply about your organization. We spoke about a network. So if you go and think about a company like National Australia Bank, don't simply work by themselves. For example, they're going to have all of these people that give a lot of investment for National Australia Bank. You're going to talk about all of these investors. You're going to talk about potentially people who do, let's say, property valuations. You're going to talk about people who, go and do all the accounting paperwork. You're going to talk about all of these lawyers that they deal with. So all of this is a big network that you're going to need to deal with to be able to really reach a specific outcome. We speak about the internal value chain. In other words, all the parties within the organization you need to deal with to be able to deliver value, as well as there's the external value chain that we need to also think about. And we speak about how is the value chain analysis being done. It's about analyzing what is happening, analyzing the organization, and from there finding what we are not doing very well to be able to go and get those improvements to go and start occurring. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to start talking about two chapters. We're going to talk about the learning objective of Chapter 7 as well as Chapter 8, because these are combined going to be delivered into the webinar this week. We're going to speak about the business strategy and information system and IT. We're going to talk about the tools, frameworks, and so on. I'll start talking about them one by one. First of all, the business strategy and information system / IT. We need to ensure that there's an alignment and an impact consideration. We need to consider whatever we're trying to go and implement in terms of information in IT. Is it actually aligning with our business needs? And is it actually delivering the impact that we would like it to go and deliver at any particular point of time? When I talk about alignment, alignment is really more about short term. Am I aligning, what information system, what I'm doing with my short-term priorities? Is there an alignment between my strategy and my information system that I'm using in potentially the short term? The impact is more about ensuring that, is there an alignment between, is there an information system that I'm actually using in the long term and medium term to be able to go and really get the impact to be delivered? So if I want to go and achieve that business strategy and get the right outcome, I need to get the right information system. Am I actually getting and achieving that impact that I would like to go and achieve using information system and IT? We need to seek alignment between business and information system and IT strategies. It's very, very important. And that's why we need to really go and interpret, what are we trying to do as a business? What is my strategy? Because when I know what my strategy is, this is where I start knowing what is the information system that I need to be able to go and achieve my strategy, and what is the technology that need to be supplied to me to be able to go and really achieve the success and that I would like to go and achieve in my organization. We need to talk about the tools for information system and IT strategy formulation and their relationship. We spoke about so many various tools every single week as we are actually moving along. And I'll talk more about them in the next slide. But what we need to know is there are a number of things that basically influence the balance of an application portfolio for any business. So there are things that basically impact what sort of applications I have at any point of time. There are external factors and there are internal factors. And when I talk about external factors, there are long-term external factors and short-term external factors, as well as long-term internal factors and short-term internal factors. So some of these, if you talk, what would affect what sort of applications I have within my organization? Well, external long-term factors could include the economic situation. If the economy is not well, you might go and say, well, I'm not going to go and invest into any further technology at any specific point of time. Or if the business environment is not well, maybe the business is dying out and it's not needed anymore. We won't go and make a lot of investment into something like that. There's also external short-term aspects, such as what is the current status of the information system and IT that is available out there in the market today? Because based on that, we decide what are we going to be using in our business. There are also internal factors. Do we have a good business environment? Do we have a good organizational environment? Are people good at communicating and working together? And if they are, that's great. It's really great for us to be able to go and make all of these specific investment that is required. But there's also internal short-term factors. What is the information system and IT capabilities that I currently have? What are the current applications portfolio that I currently support and have available within my organization? What I have at the moment, again, will influence what sort of things I need to go and get in terms of my business. We need to have a framework that uses all of those tools that I spoke about in the earlier slide. And when I talk about the framework consists of so many various components that really it's one framework that combines all of these components we spoke about in previous chapters and make them all together into one big integrated framework. And when I talk about that framework and what is involved in it, we need to think about the framework not simply in terms of the existing applications we have, but also we have to think about how is that framework is going to help me in terms of understanding what applications I need in my business and what applications I could potentially get for my business to be able to go and reach a lot of the outcomes. Now, when I talk about the tools and techniques that are integrated into that framework, some of them are these. They include, we need to understand the industry. We need to understand the comparative forces and how do they actually impact on the information system and information technology that either we have or we need. We have to go and sit down and interpret the business operation and strategy, which we spoke about again in previous chapters. We're going to have to go and assess what is the actual impact of digital technologies on products and services. We have to go and think about analyzing the value chain and network. And what sort of information implications does that mean? Do we have information that is missing? Do we have information that we need? We need to understand how information system and IT could change the structure of the industry value system and firm's value proposition. A company who's operating face-to-face as a retail company and suddenly moving and saying, I want to now go and operate online, that's a brand new way of going and operating that we need to go and try to go and fulfill and supply. So how do we go and actually do that? We need to assess current capabilities. What are my strategic assets? What are my competencies? What do I currently have at the moment in my organization? These are all things we spoke about together. But these are now, in this chapter, brought together into one big framework that incorporates all of these items, plus it incorporates other items. These are the items on the top side of the model, And the items I'm going to show you now are on the bottom side of that framework. So what are they? Well, analyzing the internal value chain, analyzing my business model, and analyzing the relationship I have with all of those people around me. Identifying my processes that are critical, my activities that are critical, and how do they actually impact on my business operating model? Do I have them? If I don't have them, well, I need to go and get them, because otherwise my business model won't actually operate. If I'm going to go and say, I want to go and start operating online and I'm going to be fully online company, well, do you have the processes that are required to be able to be fully online? Have you done the right activities to be able to get the right job? We talk about identifying and assessing new options for investment. If I'm going to go and say, I want to go online, okay, what options am I going to use? You could potentially go and get things done yourself. You could potentially go and say, you know, I'm going to develop it. You can potentially go and say, I'm going to go and rely on a solution that is already available out there in the market. Or you could go and say, I'm going to go and rely on cloud services instead of getting a standard package. So you need to really identify all of these new options that are available. And from there, you need to determine what are the applications you are going to be needing and adding in your portfolio. In the short term and the medium term, as well as in the long term, what is the information system demand that is going to be needed in my organization? So these items in 4 and 5 are really a lot of the item that I covered across chapters 1 to 6. But now in chapter 7, it's about how do we combine all of these things together to be able to really go and get the right outcomes we would like to go and achieve in terms of the information system and IT investments within the organization. Now we have many, many organizations, large, small. We have organizations that have so many different strategic business units. We have organizations that have one single strategy. We have organizations that have a strategy that is consolidated for all the groups. And I usually give you the example of, you know, companies like Kmart, Coles, and Bunnings. And I said, look, these are not the same companies. These are all strategic business units. These are all companies that are, in their own terms, have a very different direction to any other organization. So we need to really ask ourselves this question. Do we really need to go and create standardization in terms of all of these softwares we need to use? Do we need to go and integrate all of these softwares across every business units? And that will get me to be the competitive, receive the competitiveness. Well, if you go and think about a retail, maybe the accounting system could be integrated and standardized. But if you go and talk about, you know, let's say the way we sell might not be standardized. You know, what sort of reporting we need might not be standardized because the companies are different. The way they operate is different. If, for example, you have 2 brands of retail companies, they are both retail, so they could potentially use the same system with everything because it's not the same. Because it is the same. If they're not in the same field of work, let's say construction and retail, well, they're not the same. How are you going to go and kind of get a standardized application? So don't simply think about, you know, synergy and let me get everything to be the same and we're going to get the benefits. Because sometimes you might go and create that synergy and integration and standardization, and you find out that you're not actually achieving the right outcomes for the organization. It's very important you have good reasons why you are trying to go and implement any specific outcome. You need to ask yourself on opportunities for further corporate synergy or economic benefits, you know, which might exist at any stage throughout your strategy development process. You know, while you're working with people externally, while you're working with people internally, while you're looking at the business environment, while you're looking at the information system environment, all of these, while you're looking at them, you will be able to get a potential to go and think, well, is synergy potentially beneficial? Is it going to get me the economic benefits that I would like to go and get at any specific point of time? You need to bear in mind that a threat or weakness for one business unit may be able to be overcome if simply people who are working in the other strategic business unit or the other unit by itself come and say, look guys, we know you're having this issue. We had this issue before. And guess what? We nailed it. We found a way for us to be able to go and solve that problem. So it's all sweet and good, and you guys need to go and really do exactly the same thing. Any of the techniques, guys, at any stage of the process could reveal, cross-unit opportunities. How can we benefit from each other? So all the results should be pooled and made available to others to adapt, adopt, or join in if appropriate. So don't simply go and say, let's all do the same thing. Simply let's go and say, let's look at it. And if there is an opportunity for us to be able to get benefits from each other, then we can share resources, we could adopt it, we can join into the project, we could do whatever, but only after we find that there's an opportunity that is going to be delivered for our organization, specifically for our business units that might be, totally different business unit within the business. Kmart and Maya are totally different units. Now, this is in terms of the first chapter. The second chapter is we're going to go and start talking about, other topics. We're going to talk about the conclusions from all of these portfolio models we've been explaining. We're going to talk about classifying the applications in the actual portfolio we're trying to work on. We're going to talk about reconciling demand and supply issues in the portfolio. We're going to talk about generic application management strategies. We're going to talk about portfolio management principles, which are actually applied to the application portfolio. We're going to talk about aligning development approaches to the portfolio segments. We're going to speak about the special case of enterprise systems. And we're going to talk about managing applications portfolios in multi-unit organizations. So ladies and gentlemen, we showed you so many various, if you want, portfolio models. And this one is really more about really trying to integrate all of these models. We've been talking from the beginning about, the strategic projects, the high potential areas we need to work, the key operational areas, the support areas we need to go and actually work. Now, this is basically trying to go and link two things for you. It's trying to go and tell you, well, first of all, what is the potential contribution of the information and IT application to achieving our goals as a business in the future? Is it high or is it low? Now, when I talk about there's a high potential for IT and information system applications to help me achieve my business success, then we're going to keep on looking at the actual opportunities. Look at them. What are they? Where are they? Look at the critical success factors that I need to go and actually monitor to achieve success. Look at the demand management. What do I actually need to be able? So sorry guys, there's been a bit of a break in that connectivity, but just coming back, I was talking about the, what we look at. We look at the potential contribution of all of these information system and IT applications for us to be able to really go and achieve the business goals. If they basically have a very high contribution, then what's going to happen is we're going to start looking at all of these opportunities. Let's look about them. Let's look at the critical success factors we're going to go and have. Let's look about how we're going to go and manage all of these demand that we have in terms of the information system that needs to go and be delivered to be able to get that advantage. On the bottom side of things, we are talking about the supply management. Supplying is more about getting the IT supply to be able to fulfill my demand in terms of the information system that I'm actually going to be needing. We talk about looking about the opportunities and benefiting from them. We're talking about solving a lot of the problems. And when we decide what we're going to work on, it's really, dependent on the degree of dependence of the business on information system and IT applications to achieve the performance, not simply the goals, but to also achieve the performance. Now, to achieve the goals and performance, if these are essential for us, this is really what we call a lot of the strategic things that we need to go and attack. It's really what we call a business opportunity driven. It's about really going and achieve competitiveness. It's really about keeping on exploring how we're going to go and achieve that competitive advantage that we would like to go and achieve at any point of time. We talk on this side, IT opportunity driven. What is that? Well, we know that this is very, very important for us. Applications are very important for our future business goals. But At the moment, they don't have a lot of impact on business performance. Now, they could be in the future, but for now, we're going to go and have to go and innovate. We're going to go and experiment into all of these potential opportunities that might be available out there that will help me to go and drive the right outcome. We talk at the bottom. What is the bottom? Well, we talk about they're not very important for the business goals. They are important for our performance, but not very important for our future goals. So what do we do there? Well, these are the backbone for my business. I need to perform in a certain manner, and I won't be able to achieve it if I'm not going to go and have a sort of good methodology to go and think about the things, planning, integrated solution within my business, centralized control within my business. All of this is basically enabling me to go and really look at the business, look at the issues within the business, and try to go and get the backbone of the business to be very well established, the applications to be very well there, to be able to get the right performance we would like to go and actually get. On the right-hand side, something that is, not very important to be able to, applications are not very important for my future goal or for my business performance. And this is where we're going to go and try to, make some evolution. This is a traditional system. We make some evolution. We make some localized applications. We make decentralized control to be able to kind of go and make the efficiency we would like to go and get. Now you're going to say, well, how does that really apply in a real organization? What does that actually mean from a strategic perspective, high potential? What does it mean from a applications used within the organization? Well, the answer is in this example here. This is the example of a portfolio for a manufacturing company. If you talk about more things that are strategic focus, they are not simply important for my future goals, but they are also important for my performance. Advertising and promotion, managing campaigns, analyzing sales and forecasting, activity-based costing. Am I actually, costing me too much money or not? Product tracking and traceability, vendor managed inventory. All of these are very important concepts from a strategic perspective to an organization that is basically working in manufacturing. If you talk about, key operational things to bear in mind, well, to manage operation within that business, we need the product database, we need to manage inventory, we need to have manufacturing requirements planning, which is a system like an ERP system, but it's only focused on manufacturing. We need information about order processing, dispatch, and invoicing. We need production control, purchasing, and materials management. We need to manage the actual customer management system. We need to have direct marketing and telesales, warehouse and logistics management. So all of these are really systems that will help me to become, if you want, get the operation running to be able to go and reach the right outcome. Now, I need this operation to produce all of these outputs, and I need these systems to be able to go and make sure I'm going to go and get the sales happening, and to make sure I'm analyzing that I'm getting the right outcomes from all of these sales. We have these other applications, that we need to support. What are they? Well, you need to pay people. You need to make accounts payable and receivable. You need to make budgeting. You need to have, project management. All of these are general things that are needed to be supported within the organization, because, without them, if you don't pay people or if you don't pay suppliers, you're not going to be able to do any of these manufacturing that is needed. You're not going to be able to sell anything that, we need at any point of time. So you need all of that information also. High potential sort of applications. Well, virtual reality, customer design and specifications. For example, let's say you want to go and build a house, and you don't want to go and spend a lot of time speaking to people about, about how do we design it and see their design. You want to see it on the internet. You want to see and assess various designs very quickly over the internet. What can you do? Well, what you can do is you can go and get virtual reality. You can make all of these changes on a website, and you can see exactly what is happening. And that would be potentially very beneficial from a manufacturing company, because you can see it virtually, how it's going to look like. And then the customer could very quickly give you their feedback, and you don't need to keep on wasting a lot of time. Product profitability analysis. Is it going to get me the value that I need? Yes or no? Analytics, customer analysis data, channel profitability data. Are people coming and buying from the internet? Are people buying from WhatsApp? Are people buying from Facebook? Are people buying from the store? Where are people actually going and paying? Sustainability, systems, energy management. I remember I actually went and I was working with, I was basically paying a visit to Nestle in Dubai. And one of the systems they were trying to go and implement at that stage was a plugin for charging all of their forklifts, because that new charging capability was going to enable them to have 30% energy expenditure rather than 100% energy expenditure. So they were basically saving 70% of their energy by trying to implement that high potential application that was available. Innovation factory for new product development. Again, this is something we need to go and have. It's very much high potential. So you need to have applications that are going to go and be delivering value across not simply one area of your portfolio, but across those areas we've been talking so much about throughout the textbook: strategic area, operational area, support area, and high potential area. Now, we talk about, the portfolio. Whenever you're going to go and think about all of these various areas of focus in terms of application, there are reasons, there are driving forces for us to work on all of these various applications areas. High potential, strategic, operational support. There are reasons pushing us to be able to really go and move into that direction. High potential. Why should we work on high potential application? Well, new business ideas, technological opportunities. That's why we should go and try to get high potential areas applications. We could be having individual initiatives. For example, someone within the organization who is a champion found a great way to do something. We said, we're going to go and try to implement it. Need to prove the value or otherwise of the idea or the capabilities of the technology. That's a driving force. Now, what do we do in these examples? Well, you need to have a rapid evaluation. Don't spend so much money evaluating an idea, but rather let's spend just enough time making the evaluation that is needed so that we won't waste a lot of value if the idea turned out not to be one that is going to be beneficial. Understand the potential benefits in relation to the business strategy. Is it going to add value? Understand how we're going to go and proceed forward. This is very important to get the right outcome. If I talk about strategy, why? What is driving me to go and create all of these strategic applications? Well, market requirements, competitive pressures, other external factors, business objective, the vision that we have as a business. All of these are things we need to think about. And there, you're not going to go and get the outcome straight away. It's a strategy. Strategy runs 3 to 5 years. So you're going to go and make rapid but iterative development. We keep on adding things slowly, slowly, slowly to reach the right outcome. We have a system that can be adapted to keep on changing and adapting as a business basically go and change. And so there are also forces for other stuff, for the key operational applications, for the support applications. Support, for example, it's all about low cost, long-term solutions. Key operational, it's all about quality, long-term solution, effective information management, and also about efficiency. So we think about all of these items when we're trying to go and decide what segments, what on the various segments of the portfolio that we need to go and manage, any applications we need to go and get. Now, Parsons described 5 strategies that were prevalent as a means by which organizations linked how they manage information system and IT to the actual linkages to the corporate or business management processes. They said we have centrally planned linkages, leading edge, free market monopoly, and scarce resources. Centrally planned, they believe it's very, very important for us to actually make sure that all the coordination of the requirement is happening in a centralized location to be able to ensure we are going to go and be getting the right outcome. So you want to get the business strategy to be linked to information system? Well, we need to have everything to be centralized centralized strategy, centralized system to basically go and actually get all of these IS and IT that we would like to go and need. Leading edge thinking. You know, we need this technology because it's going to go and create an advantage over everybody else available out there in the market. So in this ones, we're going to go and have, you know, all of these IT, for example, we're going to push forward all of these boundaries of technologies used on all fronts. Every area you go and find a leading technology, we're going to go and try to invest in to get that technology because it links to my business management process. Free market. What is a free market? Well, the market makes the best decision. We need to follow the market. What is happening out there in the market? Okay, what is happening out there in the market is basically there's going to be all of these new changes, all of these new technologies, all of these new information system. And this market and what is happening out there is the one that actually going to drive me to go and identify and decide what sort of information system and IT applications I'm going to go and get within my business. Monopoly. Monopoly is an example where information is a corporate good and an integrated resource for users to go and employ. So we're going to have a monopoly in terms of how we're going to go and get things. We're going to go and say, you're going to go and have to do it in this way. We're not going to allow you to go and make any adjustments to it because we believe that's going to be the best way for us to be able to go and get the business strategy and business outcomes to go and be delivered. And finally, scarce resources, where we know information is a limited resource. We know that information needs to be used very, very efficiently. So what we do, we start going and try to manage a budget very well, manage all of our expenses. We try to go and see how we're going to go and manage and control the use of information system and IT within the organization. We try to use all of our costing into the most efficient manner. We try to go and ensure we have a clear justification of how we are doing things and why we're doing them. Because if something is not going to add value, I won't have to go and actually invest it because my resources in the organization are very, very scarce and I can't simply go and invest into any simple information system and IT that I believe is going to go and add value to my business processes. Now, you're going to need to work on a lot of projects within the organizations. You're going to have to go and deliver a lot of the applications. So in your portfolio of what you're going to be working on as an organization, you need to go and think, okay, I have the high potential projects, I have the strategic projects, I have the key operation projects, I have the support projects, and all of these I need to have, I need to manage them all. I need to have projects that I'm working on at any point of time to be able to get the right outcome. If I'm simply working on high potential projects, then my operation is going to suffer. If I'm simply working on strategic projects, then I'm not going to be able to go and get the right support services available within the organization. So I need to ensure I am managing a portfolio of many projects within the organization, and I need to make sure that how am I managing those projects in this portfolio are actually done by using the right management style. If something that is very strategic, it's, you know, potentially we're going to need a transformational leadership style. Why? Because it's the CEO needing to come and actually create that strategy and communicate that strategy for everybody out there to be able to start getting buy-in and start wanting to go and deliver the outcome that I needed. In contrast, however, something that is more like a support might need more like a transactional leadership. In other words, we want to make sure that people are being led to be able to actually do the tasks that they need to be able to go and do to be able to get the right outcome they would like to go and actually get. So it's about really looking at what is being delivered, what are we trying to go and do, and getting the right style to be able to go and do those outcomes. So as I said, we need to go and really align development approaches. So how are we going to go and develop the high potential project or the strategic project or the key operation or the support projects will be totally different. Something that is high potential might involve creating a group of, if you want, smart people within the organization to go and try to make quick explorations of those ideas. Strategic might be, I'm going to go and involve, I don't know, key senior managers within the organization to be able to go and start working on developing those ideas. And other basically approaches need to be done for other areas within the business, which we'll talk about in more details in the webinar on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Now, there's a special case of the enterprise system. The enterprise system is like a system that really connects various areas of the business and give all the information that various areas of the business actually goes and need. And this special case of the enterprise system talks about, let me go and look about my business. Let me look about what the business is trying to go and do. And let me also look about what the business plans to do in the future, as well as, now and in the future, basically. Let me go and look at all of these problems that we have within the business and all the constraints we have. And from there, let me go and decide about the enterprise system I would like to go and implement. So I go and plan what I want to do, and I'll start implementing that specific system that people within my organization are going to actually use. After you implement that system, this is basically your beginning, okay? This is you got this system and you got a baseline and you got to the stand where you have now a baseline system that is working without any problems. But then what you need to go and say, well, all right, we're going to need to go and have a revised intent because my vision is going to change. Things that I want to do in the future will change. So the system that I have today, while great, it's great at the current problem that I'm trying to go and do at the moment. It's great at the key operational and support components mainly. This here is more important for my strategic and high potential components. We're going to need to go and see what we need to do from a strategic perspective, what we need to do for the high potential projects, what is my vision, how it's changing. And I'm going to have to go and revisit that system that I have at the moment. I'm going to go and shake it down, replan, and implement further development on the actual enterprise system that is linking all the organization and providing people with the information that they need to get the right outcome. Now remember, the information that I need might be an operational information, might be support information, might be strategic information, might be high potential information. And this is really relating to the various areas of applications we are going to be delivering within our organizations. Now, what we need to go and bear in mind is when you are actually managing applications across multi-unit organization, there are many units. There's, Kmart and Coles and whatever. You need to think about what are you going to do when you're talking about this strategic, high potential, and so on. So let's say business unit 1. What you need to go and think about, I need to evaluate how advantages gained in one unit can be obtained in others. So how advantages from business unit 3 could be gained in my potential business unit. High potential. I need to share ideas on the result of evaluations and prototype. And I need to communicate them to other people. So I need to capitalize from the advantages of others, and I need to communicate about what I'm finding to everybody else. Support. I need to basically achieve economies by sharing non-critical systems and standardizing on technologies and resources used. Constraint. Why am I going to go and invest into a new accounting system if we have an accounting system that we all are able to go and use? Key operation is that I need to transfer my experience in use of applications and technologies to other people. If there's a potential to reduce duplications of information system and IT efforts, I need to do it. And I need to really go and get that control to actually happen. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to now move to talk about something that is very, very important, which is about your assessment. Now, I'm going to go to, I'm going to actually share the screen that you guys will see yourself. So if we go to, if I go to the subject, you're going to be able to go and see the assessments. And you're going to be able to go and see the briefing document for assessment 2. So what does that assessment ask you to go and do? Well, it's asking you to work with the group that you've been assigned to. Now, if you're not sure who your group is, you need to go and look at the email that I've sent you guys, or either I sent you or your lecturer have sent you. If you're not sure about who your group is, I encourage you to make sure you ask your lecturer immediately, because they should have sent the email to all of you about who your team members are so that you can start working with them. So you're going to need to work with your group to produce a report that analyzes information system and IT and a retailer. And when I talk about a retailer, it could be a retailer who is operating physical stores. It could be a retailer who is operating online, or it could be a retailer who's operating both physical stores and online. And there are a number of questions you need to go and answer actually. One, you need to describe 2 information system and IT innovations the retailer is using and how they are influencing how effective that organization is actually operating. So you need to make the research. You need to identify and apply a formal framework for analyzing and improving alignment between the retailer's business and its information technology services function. And I gave you an example here, ITEL, which is Information Technology Infrastructure Library. You might want to use that, or to go and search for other frameworks and try to apply those frameworks as part of your assignment. You need to discuss 2 important aspects the retailer should consider when devising its IT strategy, and apply an appropriate tool or technique to align business and IT strategy and planning. And I gave you the example here. You might refer to some models in webinar 3, though undertaking external research is recommended, but there are models that we've basically covered throughout the sessions. Using the learning from lecture 6, draw a representation of the members of the retailer's network. That's really more about the value chain and how you're going to draw it. 5, explain the system integration challenges the retailer would experience when dealing with such a network. You know how there's so many various parties here. You know how you need to work with people inside and outside the business. What are the integration challenges we might experience when dealing with a network? And how these challenges could influence the coherence of the retailer's IT infrastructure. Is it going to be coherent? Is the information going to be available where it's needed? Is the technology going to be available where it's needed or not? We're going to discuss the importance of architecture when the retailer is analyzing and designing its information system for maximum effectiveness. And we spoke about the designs earlier. We spoke about how we're going to design the information, how you're going to need to go and connect various components and various applications together. We've covered that in previous lectures. It's basically building on that information that I've done in relation to architecture. The assignment is basically assessed based on all of these criteria. Network representation is worth 15%. Writing to the audience, 15%. These 2, 50% is really more related to the research and content. So have you actually done enough research to be able to go and really deliver the outcomes appropriately? This is a marking guide clearly inserted here, guys. You can look at that. It's basically telling you things such as references, for example. If you want to get a top mark for this group assignment, minimum 20 references are expected. If you're going to fail, well, then use under 6. So this is the sort of things you need to bear in mind. Research is a key criterion that will influence the mark you earn. So I'm going to remind you that if you're not going to go and do a good work and good research, you won't get the right outcome. You also need to know that if you use Wikipedia or Online Encyclopedia, you would basically potentially fail. And you need to know that the team leader, so whoever you've chosen as your team leader, must insert in the report a percentage indicating how much each person contributed to the work. If, for example, someone contributed 100% and someone contributed 50%, if the group got 100 over 100 on their assignment, you won't get more than 50 over 100 because you only contributed 50%. So that percentage will affect directly how much mark you are going to get for your assignment. In addition to everything you're doing above, you need to do a presentation, a minimum of 5 slides, a maximum of 10 slides. The time allowed is 10 minutes and up to 5 minutes for you to ask questions. All members are required to present, so everybody in your group, optimize the oral presentation grade by not simply reading, but presenting conclusions and drawn from the analysis, and try to rehearse the presentation at least 2 or 3 times before you do the real presentation. Because my experience is if people do not rehearse, they won't finish on time, and they're going to go and potentially get a poor outcome. This happened so many times before, and it keeps on happening, and it will happen again in the future. So please be very, very mindful of that. The presentation is worth 10%, and this is how we're going to go and mark it. Presentation skills, 25%. Knowledge of the topic, 25%. Organization, 25%. And visual aids, in other words, things you show me that I look at, tables, graphs, and so on. They need to be there, 25%. This is the one that people often forget about, and means they're not going to get anything better than 7.5 over 10 on their presentation. This is really, I call it a bonus way to get marks. I really encourage you to go and make sure you do a very, very good presentation. Other information about the font, the referencing, the length of the assignment, 2,500 words plus minus 10%, 20% worth of your mark plus 10% for your presentation. It's due on Monday, the 1st of February at 11 p.m. Files that are not submitted will not be accepted. And you're going to say, why does it have to be done on Monday? The reason is because your presentation will start on week 11. If we're going to make the assignment due on Friday or after, it means we won't be able to go and mark your presentations because there won't be enough time. And that means we won't be able to go and give you enough training in week 12 because we're spending all of that time on your presentation. But in week 12, I also need to make sure I spend a lot of time preparing you for your final exam. That's why we cannot extend the due date. It is due on Monday, the 1st of February. The presentation must be ready because you need to start presenting for us starting Wednesday. So please make sure everything is done on time. You do not need to print the work. Again, everything is on the internet. You need to submit it. The presentation is on the internet. Everything is on the internet. If you submit your work late, 10% penalty per day. If you submit it more than 5 days late, equals straight away 0. That's not me. That's a policy of SISTC. And that's why I tell you, do not submit late because it's a very strict policy and people are getting zeros. I had 2 people in this subject got a 0 because they have submitted their work over 5 days late and they have had no special consideration, which means according to policy of SISTC, you submit it over 5 days late means you're going to get a 0. So please be very mindful of the due dates to get the right outcomes. Now, there's obviously other information here about the structure and so you can read them in your own time, but I want to now open it for you. Do you guys have any questions about the assignment? Any questions? Okay.
No, sir.
No worries. Now, one thing I'm going to say very, very importantly, you have 6 questions plus a presentation. You have 4 groups in your group, 4 people in your group. Split the work with various people and try to produce in the next 2 weeks by the latest the answer for all of these 4 questions. Then another week, you guys work on questions 5 and 6. And then another week, you start working on your presentation. That means 8, 9, 10. By week 11, you're ready to submit. Leave it late and you will fail. Definitely you will fail. Don't leave it late. I want you to start working now. I want you to get the answers done now. And the further you delay it, the further you're doing yourself no chance because, some people in the first assignment failed it. Some people got 13, some people got 16, some people got 17. but obviously you need a lot of marks to be able to pass the subject, and you need to work as a group. If you're not working, you're not going to go and get the marks. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I just checked if you have any questions, and you had none. But as I say, if you ever have any questions at all, you can always make contact with us at a later stage. We'll be always very happy to help you. Please read chapter 7 and 8 and start working on your group assignment. And I want you to always remember that I really care about you. I really appreciate all your effort. I really want you to go and be the best you can be. No plagiarism, no copying. You work hard to get the future. Plagiarism and copying won't get you there. So work very hard to get the right outcome, and we will basically help you grow to have a great future. Ladies and gentlemen, I am very, very thankful to have you here today. Thank you very kindly for your time. Have a great
Thank you, sir.
Guys, and I'll see you again on Tuesday,
Thank you, sir.
Thursday or Friday. Thank you very much, guys. You take care, okay?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a good day.